to give the opportunity for the inductees to speak tonight. I really want to thank our committee. You know, I think we started this in 2019. It had been 40, my math's not good, about 49 years of the existence of the school. We didn't have an athletic Hall of Fame in place. Coach Horton was on that first committee. He was in the first class as well. Miss Laughlin, Miss Garner, who just left. I mean, I must say, I'm originally from Western Pennsylvania. I'm not from here, so I really relied on people like Coach Horton, on Miss Laughlin, on Miss Garner. Maddie Smith was on that first committee too. I can't forget you, Miss Smith. Jill Smith. Jill. Everyone knows her as Jill. But it's been very special, and I can't thank the committee enough. We've had some new committee members come on. You know, Coach Snipes is over here. She's now on the committee as a former Northwood grad. But it's been really enjoyable to work with the committee, and it's never easy. I mean, I wish you guys could see our meetings and going through all the names, and it's hard, it's tough. I know we hear sometimes in the community, what about so-and-so? Nominate them. We need more nominations, so I'm pleading to you all tonight, nominate people, your classmates, nominate people who you think are worthy, so we have a lot of names to go through. Sometimes we rely on Mr. Horton, on Miss Smith, Miss Garner to bring names to us. I think this year we had like 3 or 4 nominees that were submitted. So please help us continue this tradition going and nominate worthy individuals. So I want to thank them. I appreciate it. Let's give a round of applause for the committee. Also, we couldn't do any of this without our local sponsors. Allen & Sons catered tonight's event. Miss Snipes is soon to be a Miss Stubbs, and her soon-to-be husband is too generous. I told him to send me a bill. He said, "Don't worry about it. It's on me." So keep that in mind when you're thinking about going out to eat or going out to lunch, and support those local businesses that give back to their community and that give back to the school. So thank you to Allen & Sons. What's that?
Ethan Snipes. We're going to have a poll on that.
He'll love hearing that, Gene. He'll love hearing that, Gene. So thank you again to Allen & Sons. And this is super fun for me. I get to learn about people that came through these halls years ago. I've been here personally, I think 12 or 13 years. I've been in Chatham County 19, and I love this place. I love this community. My family now calls it home. My kids are hopefully going to come here one day, and it's a special, special place to listen to Coach Ribbett and Coach Pappas and Dee talk about that play with Mr. Marsh and Mr. Kirby. I heard the same story last year, but I could hear that story probably every year. When I first came here and I was coaching basketball, I did hear some stories about a lot of people, and through the committee we heard a lot. You know, Miss May, your name was brought up every year. Miss Laughlin was always in your corner talking about how great of an athlete you were, multi-sport athlete, something we don't have nowadays. She talked about you on the tennis court and on the softball field, and it was really great to see the joy in her face when she was talking about you and the type of player you were, but also the type of student you were, and that really said a lot about you. Mr. Edwards, we heard a lot from, Mr. Edwards, Tyrone, we heard a lot from Ms. Garner about your basketball ability. Mr. Edwards was a prep All-American. That's probably one of the first All-Americans to come out of Northwood, who went on to East Carolina on a basketball scholarship. I'm assuming, too, you're probably one of the first to go to Division I college scholarship from Northwood in 1975.
Well, can I set the record straight?
Yes, sir.
I'm a better player.
You're a better player.
There's your next nomination.
That's it. There we go. There we go. But it was great learning about you, and then what we didn't hear that I learned about was your service in the Air Force. So thank you for your service and defending our country. Jack Shaner, we always hear about him, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. But we have John in attendance tonight in his honor. But again, you hear about coaches. We hear of the job that Coach Shaner did in 1972 when the school went from Pittsboro High School in Horton, and it came together, and there was a lot of racial tension at that time. And we heard the stories from that 72 team about Coach Shaner and the staff bringing those kids together. And by bringing those kids together, the school came together. And I think that it was the first conference championship that we won that year. I think we beat Jordan Matthews in the last game of the year to win that conference. So not only did he do great things on the football field, but we heard about him teaching, and then you heard about what he did for the school and community, bringing people together. Mr. Marsh, we heard a lot of exciting things about him. Reading about him, he had a whole scrapbook, everyone, that he sent me. There are a lot of stories about him. But, we hear about the dual quarterbacks today, and Coach Pappas, Coach Ribby, you could probably tell me, he might have been ahead of his time back then. That dual threat on the ground and throwing through the air, and again, that play that you had. And he was also a multi-sport athlete, playing basketball and baseball. Once again, something that the younger kids need to hear a lot more of. And then, Ms. Stroud, we heard about you and your basketball ability. 32 points in one game in 1980 or 81? 80? had to have been a record at that time. With 32 points, you got some skills, and you can shoot the ball if you're scoring 32 points in a game. And again, just like Miss Laughlin, that smile on her face when she used to talk about you and talk about you as a student, as a player. So it was great to hear that. And then Mr. Sanders, ever since I got to Northwood, I heard about the games. Where is he at? Oh, he's over there. Mr. Sanders, ever since I got to Northwood, I heard of the legendary games between Todd Sanders and Robert Seiler. And that gym was packed this year, so we have another young man who's probably kind of like Mr. Sanders back in the day in Drake Powell. We had the gym packed, but I think you were the first one to pack that gym and bring that atmosphere. So I wish I could have seen. I wish we had game tape back then, because I've always heard stories from everybody.
He dropped 41 on it.
41 points on him, yeah.
I had a good seat.
And I hated when I talked to Mr. Sanders when I heard about him going to Wake Forest and beating the #1 Tar Heels, because that's my team. But it's pretty cool that a kid from Northwood was able to beat that North Carolina team. I think they had Kenny Smith, and they have Kenny Smith, Brad Doherty.
Oh, that was J.R. Reed.
J.R. Reed, okay.
Yeah.
Scott Williams and those guys.
Scott Williams.
Yeah.
Jeff Lebo.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to say thank you. It was great learning all about you. And I've talked enough. I would love to open the floor. Some of you have said you're not comfortable, that's fine. But if any of the inductees would like to say anything, don't all jump at once, because Coach Pappas, I know, is going to want to get up, and we may not be able to get him down from talking. He's already got a note card ready. So, if any of the inductees want to say anything, no pressure.
Well, first of all, I want to give honor to God for giving this honor of being inducted to this great school that I attended. And then to my family and friends who are here in support of this tremendous honor. And I'm not big on speeches, but I'll just say, playing sports is something that you can kind of carry out through life in whatever endeavor that you get into as an adult. A couple of my biggest mentors, my father and my grandfather. I used to see them go to work every day. They weren't highly educated men, but they were very hard-working men, which kind of trickled down to me as far as like the passion I had for playing sports and stuff. So again, it's just a great honor to be part of this tradition that they've started 4 or 5 years ago. So thank you for everybody that's here, and God bless all the other inductees, and continue to be blessed.
Yes. I'm truly glad to be here. I guess I'm the oldest one here. I came to Northwood when it opened up, my sophomore year. We started here in 10th grade. Had a great time here. I also had 2 nephews that played basketball here in Northwood. Lamont Clinton, his oldest son, and my other nephew, Tran Chaplin. And both of them went on to play college ball too after they left here too. So it's a family thing. And hopefully got another generation coming down the road. They might be here one day. So truly glad to be back and able to be walking back in here. Thank you.
Be really honest, man, I want to tell you, I couldn't have done anything without you guys. And I love you guys. I think you guys are wonderful. We are all a family. And this is wonderful that we all decided to come back and come together. I got to give thanks to my mother. You know, she has been the rock in my family, my cousin. You know, that's like my big brother. It's my first cousin, played with St. John's. Bobby Collins, head coach at Shaw University, my son. You know, just a God gift to me. You know, it's beautiful. And this is Nate Davis, one of the preachers up in Chapel Hill. We all, it's like each person here touched me so that I could do whatever it is. I know I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but these guys have been wonderful. And also too, I got to represent Fire Tower Road. My relatives came from that area, and the Sanders clan. Marley Sanders actually played football here years and years, played with the Air Force and the Army. And I gotta at least acknowledge him as well. But, you know, without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So thank you. I really appreciate everything from Horton Middle to Northwood to Wake Forest University, and even graduate school, some graduate courses at Carolina and additional graduate courses at different locations. So thank you and God bless you. Yeah, I took some graduate courses in Carolina. Yes, sir. The rest of it was in Maryland, but yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be quick, I promise you. You know, the one good thing about this for me is, you know, I walk in and you start realizing the stories. You know, sports never ends. You know, I walk in and I see Todd, and I'm walking over that way, and I walk over, and this big guy over here says to me, "You coach me. You better remember my name, or you're going to get hurt." You know. And well, in another life, I was down at Pinecrest High School early on with Coach Jeff Capel, and Bobby Collins was one of our players, and you know, he's trying to tell some bad stories about me, but none of it's true. But you know, you see that, and then I hear Lamont McClinton's name. I hear Trey Hearn's name. I mean, it goes on and on. It's just a great opportunity. I think about Jack Shaner. You know, when I first got here, when I go to Moncure to interview for the job, and we're in a room about this size right here. Mr. Lehman's getting ready to come to Northwood for his first year. And we're interviewing there, and I thought, what has Ms. Laughlin got me into? But then, you know, one of the first people I meet on campus is Coach Shaner, and he was very helpful. And I think about that, and you know, what a great person he was, and what he did for this school. And as always, you know, I see Ron and Faye and Earl. So, you know, this is a great honor. I was lucky enough to you know, be inducted last year, and I just think about how lucky we all are. But it's just great to come back and see, because Northwood is really a special place. I mean, I've had the opportunity to be at 3 or 4 other different places, but when I think about if somebody asked me where home would be, it would be at Northwood. I really believe that. And I got a dog buried on the football field, you know. So I don't know how many people know that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's legal, but we took care of that back when we were there. And so, I mean, this has always been home from, you know, my kids, and I love it. And thank you very much. Thank you to the committee. I hope this will continue and just keep growing. And to each and every one of you, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Northwood High School and Northwood football has been a part of my life, my entire life. Very special place. A lot of y'all knew my father. He taught here many, many years. And being able to be part of this and come back and share it with a lot of people that I know and love. He's got a lot of ties to people in this room. And my family appreciates the opportunity for that to happen tonight. And very special for us. Northwood High School will always be special to me. I'll always bleed green and gold, and I appreciate it from my family. Thank you.
I got a little connection with one of these families, like the Shayners. I played baseball for Mr. Shayner when I was in high school. His daughter, Sissy, was probably the youngest assistant coach I've ever worked for or ever played for, because she sat beside of him on the bench and she gave signals with the bat. One hand was steal, two hands was the bunt. Jack would give her the signals and she'd give them to us out there on the field. And then I got to coach with him here, and then of course I got to coach John in baseball. But like Jim said, this is a special place. I know Faye and I was here, I coached here for 40 years. I came out here with a building. I moved mess in that science lab up there that didn't have any insides in it when to dissect it. But it's been special, and it will continue to be special as long as we continue getting people like we're getting in here, like this group you've got in here now. I mean, that's what makes it a special place. You may go off a lot of different places. It's like we've had some coaches that they came here, and I'm not talking about Jim, but I have another coach, Coach Hart. You know, he came, and I was coaching basketball at the time, and AD and all that kind of stuff, and we got Coach Hart to do basketball. And I think he found out pretty quick, the grass is not always greener on the other side. And, you know, this is special for any of us, I think, that's ever worked here. We look at the list of principals out there. I think Faye and I went through about 9 of them. And they'd say something to us. We said, well, we were here when you came. We'll be here when you leave. And we were. We were like about 9 of them. But, you know, as long as you did your job, you didn't have to worry about it. But what made it our jobs easier as coaches was the athletes that we had. It's been a lot of tremendous athletes to come through here. Leander Stroud. He was on one of the first basketball teams that ever won a conference championship here. Because they went probably 12, 14 years here before we ever won a basketball conference championship. Never won more than hardly 10 games. And he was on the team that won one of the first, because I was coaching that team that won the first conference championship. Tyrone came in here. He had Coach Leo Campbell. Tyrone was sophomore. I had a bunch of guys that were pretty good players. I said, Leo, let me keep Tyrone on JV so these boys can play together. Well, he didn't do that. But anyway, everybody wants it to be a football place, football school. It started out that way. But now, you know, it's kind of like with Carey and some of these others, it's kind of like becoming a big basketball school. And people talk about, well, yeah, that's where these guys go. We had Derek Stevens. You know, we had a lot of these kids that come through here that were good basketball players that's gone on and played in Todd and all that played in different places, and it has a good name for that. And I think academically it's good. It was good to my 3 kids that came through here. And I think it's good for any of them that comes in here and does what they're supposed to do. And you can see how it's turned out with these kids. They've all done well. And we're proud of you, every one of you.
Now, do you have a dog buried out in the football field?
Cross country trail.
Don't put that on tape.
That'd be headlines. Papa's buries dog on football field.
All right, so I have to apologize. I knew we were going to be against the gun with the rings, and I got an email Monday. The rings aren't here for tonight, so I'm sorry. I'm really bummed out. I knew it was going to be hard. This was early this year. By the time we contacted everybody, it was late July, August, I'm going to make sure I'll bring them myself, because I know we are in very close proximity to Pittsburgh. So I will make sure you get those rings as soon as they come in. I'm sorry I don't have them for tonight, but Ronald can show you what it's going to look like, and he has his on tonight. Jim has his on too. Okay. Very nice. Yeah.
Hey, Leander, you getting one? Leander, you getting one, brother?
Someone got nominated next year. Make sure you nominate him next year.
That guy, you definitely need to know.
Let's hear. I want to hear about him next year. Okay.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, feel free. We have about 15 more minutes. I have to go out to the field. We have a live horse tonight that's going to run out the team. I got to get that situated. Yeah. So Miss Snipes, Coach Snipes over here. She's going to escort you all out. Once you get to the stadium.